I'm Linda Elseygood, founder of the LDN Research Trust. It has been my honour to interview LDN researchers, prescribers, pharmacists and patients from around the world for many conditions. Thank you for joining us.
I'd like to introduce Dr. Adam Sandford from California in the United States. Thank you for joining me, Adam.
You're very welcome.
Could you tell us when you first heard about LDN?
I heard about LDN about 5 years ago from an old professor of mine, and he was touting it as being the best thing since sliced bread, and it sounded a little too good to be true. And I started looking into it. I came across a book by, I think, Moore and Wilkinson, and really started pondering its use, and I've been an active prescriber of it, I think it's since about late 2013.
Okay. How many patients do you think you've prescribed LDN for in that time? Would you have any idea?
I run a general practice where LDN is only applicable for a portion of it. I'd say probably, if you count all the SIBO people, 50 or 60. If you don't count SIBO, you're talking about generalized other issues. Actually, that's probably 40 or 50. The SIBO thing probably pushes it up into the 80s or 90s. Not a ton, but still a good amount of people.
Okay. And could you tell us what other conditions? You mentioned SIBO there.
Yeah, so SIBO is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Basically, if a person has an autoimmune condition that is not too reactive to a number of the natural or conventional treatments that we do, I strongly consider LDN. With SIBO, that's looking into turning out to be a bit of an autoimmune condition in the gut. So we use it for gastric motility. I've used it for primary biliary sclerosis, a lot of generalized pain, rheumatoid arthritis, a couple of cases of ulcerative colitis, MS, where I've seen a little bit of a decent input, fibro, and then some interesting back pain cases too. That's been interesting.
Mm-hmm. What dose?
It's kind of a broad spectrum.
Okay. What dose do you normally start people on?
It depends on what I perceive their, we call it disease, but their inner healing strength to be. If they're looking like they're pretty solid and they don't have sleep issues or anything like that, I might start them at 1.5 and then very quickly move up to 3 and then move up to 4.5. If they have a sleep history or maybe they're not as vital as I might like, I might do 1.5 for a month, then move to 3 for a month. And then for a lady, I might stay at 3. For a gentleman, I may move to 4.5. Or if the cases are interesting, go higher for both genders.
Mm-hmm. And have any of your patients reported any side effects initially?
Yeah, maybe 20% have the sleep disturbances. Some people have difficulty falling asleep. Others are just kind of skipping through difficulty sleeping. I think all but one resolved in its entirety after a couple of weeks. There's a couple of people where I had to switch them to taking it during the day just to increase their body's reaction to it or tolerance to it, and then switch them back to nighttime. And then only 1 or 2 folks just didn't tolerate it, and we had to move on to other treatments.
Mm-hmm. And for those patients, the majority that you started on obviously have continued, how long would you say it took for your patients to notice anything with LDN?
With the antibody markers, which I'm measuring in blood for UC or Hashimoto's. Well, Hashimoto's is not a huge one. I'll see changes in biomarkers in about 3 months. I've had people experience subjective changes in either bowel movements or generalized pain in a month. I haven't seen too much in less than a month or 2 weeks or so. And then for I have actually that's not entirely true. I've had people stop that have been under chronic pain, stop the LDN and have the pain come back within 3 or 4 days. And then when they restarted the LDN, the pain dissipated almost immediately. So there's some good indicators there of once you've built up a level and changed your body's endorphin production, how quickly it can respond.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any case studies that you could share with us?
Not that I have thought out right now. I had one of my earlier cases was a gentleman with biliary sclerosis, which is super difficult to treat. He'd seen ongoing progressive advances in the hardening of the biliary tracts in CAT scans, and it hadn't stopped. He came to me asking for LDN, and it was a new utilization form, but we went ahead and did it. And since then, which was a couple of years ago, each follow-up scan has showed no further progression. Now, we do have other treatments in place, and it could be related to those, but my feeling is that it is strongly related to the naltrexone.
Well, that's really positive news, isn't it? I don't really know if there's anything else you can add to that. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, at this point, I'm finding myself utilizing it more and more often for more varied cases, just from the positive effects that I have seen and from the improvements and increases that have happened in terms of broadening and publishing of the research and the data. And I'm seeing a lot of positive effects, and I'm looking forward to trying it on a broadening array of chronic pain conditions. That's really a good direction where I'm seeing benefit, and looking forward to it.
Well, we have a list now, and it's grown. I think there are 204 different autoimmune conditions that LDN seems to be helping with. So that list is growing all the time because we have members all over the world taking it for different conditions who say, I'm taking it for this, and you don't have that on your list. Please, can you add it, to help those people? But it's just amazing, isn't it? From, skin conditions to pain. I was just trying to think, type 1 diabetes, neuropathic pain in type 1 diabetes there. But people, with alopecia, I don't know whether you've heard of Hailey-Hailey's disease, and then you've got Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, as you said, and the list goes on. ME, fibromyalgia.
I know, it's brilliant, and I'm just starting to review the LDN book that you guys are putting out shortly, and I'm learning just so much more about the power and the potency of LDN. It's really a fascinating medication, and I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing how this evolves over the coming years.
The book, the LDN book, is so exciting. There is so much in there for everybody, whether you're a lay person, or a doctor. So I'm glad you found it interesting.
If any patient that's out there that is contemplating having a conversation with their doctor about LDN, if they just give the doctor the introduction, that is a great way to go, because the discussion about the mechanism of action, if the doctor knows biochemistry at all, that should at least get them to open their eyes a bit, if not start feeling comfortable with contemplating prescription. It's a beautiful opening to the book.
Good. I'm glad you were pleased. Well, thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, and maybe we can do this again in a few years when you have more experience.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Hope you have a lovely day.
Do you have LDN experience to share? If so, please email me, linda@ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you.